Welcome to the 2021 College of Health and Human Sciences College Kickoff. It's my pleasure to be here with you. It isn't lost on me that 4 months ago I was here talking with many of you asking for a job, and then 4 short months later, 6 weeks into the job, I'm here telling you the state of the college. And I tell you, when I was prepping for this, I commented to my wife, I was like, I got to give a state of the college. Hell, I'm still trying to figure my way around the college and the various buildings. So I told her I didn't know where this would go. But one thing I've learned in the 6 weeks that I've been here is that this college speaks for itself. This college sells itself. So it's actually quite easy to put together a state of the college. It's just highlighting. The most difficult part was highlighting the strengths to flush out here, because there's so many things that you all are doing well. So that's what I plan to do today. It's been a real pleasure getting to meet many of you. Some of you I haven't met yet, but getting to meet many of you. And I've really enjoyed my time at SIU. Quite frankly, I asked a senior advisor for any advice for a new dean joining a new institution. And she gave me a few pointers on how to do the job. But her number one advice was, no matter what you do, don't look back. Once you're there, you're at SIU, you're in Carbondale, and you can't look back at Tech, and you can't look back at Lubbock. You start fresh, you commit, and you go all in. And I can honestly say, without having to pull out my best poker face, that I haven't once looked back. I've had so much fun here. The days are at times a bit long, but they fly by. I get home, my wife says, what'd you do all day? I said, I don't really know. And she says, you were there 11 hours. I'm like, yeah, but it just flew by. It was like 2 hours. So I don't know what I did, but I feel like I'm learning a lot and having a lot of fun. So thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you. What I want to do today is share with you a little bit about what I've learned, a little bit of a look back, but mostly a look at where we are and where we're going to go from here. And as I look ahead and think about what I've learned so far in my almost 6 weeks on the job, I can say unequivocally that the number one thing I've learned is that the commitment and the dedication of the faculty and staff at SIU would compete with any faculty and staff at any university in the country. I would put the faculty and staff here up against anybody in terms of work ethic, commitment, and dedication to the institution and to the students. I've said that in I think every single ad staff meeting I've had so far with my administrative team. I just remain impressed by the work that you all are doing. And it's a pleasure for me to join you in that effort. And my hope is by the end of the year, when we get to May, whatever else you might say about me, I hope you will say, or be in a position to say, he at least joined us in our dedication and our commitment. And he is starting to get the Saluki way. So we'll see where we end up in May, but that's my goal. So going forward, just a quick acknowledgement. This individual doesn't like this type of acknowledgement. This is the second time I'm doing it, and he got embarrassed the first time, so I know he's going to be embarrassed this time. In fact, I tentatively had a picture of former interim dean Scott Collins that I pasted into this slide, and I thought that might be going just a little too far. And I want to acknowledge Scott, maybe with a little bit of embarrassment, but not too much. So I deleted the picture. But when I accepted this position and prepared to move to SIU, in thinking about the position and thinking about the opportunities ahead, that's how I saw it, as opportunities, not as challenges, because this college is so well positioned within the university and as a unit. And a great deal of that goes to the work that Scott did, shepherding the college through the transition, through the reorganization, and positioning the college where it is now with some of the data that you're going to see. All the data I present is a tribute to Scott and the rest of you. And Scott would be the first to say it takes a team, and he didn't do anything on his own. And I share that sentiment with Scott, but it also takes a leader to move things forward. And Scott, I just commend you for the work that you've done, and thank you for helping me in my transition here. Unfortunately, we're still on Zoom. Hopefully next year when we do this, we'll be face-to-face. But for now, we're on Zoom because of continuing concerns about COVID. We're going to continue to monitor issues related to COVID, and in particular, the safety of our students, our faculty, and our staff as we go through the fall and into the spring. Keeping an eye on the Delta variant and prevalence rates across the local area, but the state really, and be prepared to transition and shift as needed. If you have any needs, if you have any concerns, make sure your school directors are aware of those needs or concerns, and we'll do everything we can to provide you what you need to feel safe, to be safe, and to have a successful fall. Our overarching goal this year is to ensure a safe learning environment, a high quality learning experience for our students who, as you know, they were eager to get back on campus. They're eager to resume the life of a college student, but we need to make sure that we're helping them and ourselves do that in a safe way. So going forward, that'll be a continuing evaluative process as we look at COVID, and in particular, consider any adjustments we need to make as we go forward. So in terms of the college and where we're at, as you know, the reorganization is complete. That was finalized on July 1st. So we are now the School of College and of Health and Human Sciences with 6 schools, formally structured: School of Automotive, School of Aviation, Health Sciences, Human Sciences, School of Justice and Public Safety, and the School of Psychological and Behavioral Sciences. So the schools are set. We're well positioned as a college, and we have a stable base from which to work and grow. We're working to get the staff in the office here set. Here's an organizational chart of the dean's office staff. Most of you, or I assume all of you, know Chad, who's keeping me straight so far, including making sure I know where to go and how to get there. But Chad's the administrative assistant. Working with Chad, we have Maria. We're about to lose Maria on Friday, not from the office, but from this particular position. She's actually going to move and work with Valerie Wallen, our chief academic advisor, and be an office assistant to Valerie. So we're going to have a vacant position coming open, but I've had a great 6 weeks getting to know and working with Maria. And to our fortune, she's going to stay in the office. We're about to hire 2 graduate assistants, and I recognize there's a typo there, but I didn't have time to correct the org chart and get it repasted in here. So excuse my typographical error there, but we just completed the interview and offer process with 2 graduate students. Both graduate students are from the college, and they'll be joining our staff on Friday. And then we have 2 recruitment coordinators, Deborah and Kara. And I'm going to talk more about them in a little bit and their role going forward here in the college. In the business side of things, we have Tony, who has graciously accepted our invitation to serve as extra help by way of the business manager. Tony retired a few years ago, or I don't know how long ago, but a while ago, from her position in the library, and came back to assist us in the business manager role. And working with Tony, we have Nia and Odessa. So they process contracts, help with all the business side of things. As it says there, Tony's extra help. We just completed in the last week a new hire, and we're going to have Stacia Weinhofer joining us as our senior business manager, and that takes effect September 1. Then we have 3 affiliated staff. We have Valerie Wallen again as chief academic advisor, Nathan Black as the LAN administrator, all things IT in my book, and then Steph Taylor, our director of development. The foundation and development officers are still centrally located administratively, but Steph is actually officing over here with us now, which is helpful for us to make sure we're on the same page and moving forward in a team effort. And we're about to start the search for 2 associate deans, permanent search for the associate dean for academic and student affairs, and permanent search for an associate dean for research, diversity, and personnel. And hopefully those positions will be posted in the next roughly 3 weeks. And if you have any questions about that, please feel to reach out to Chad or myself, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Okay, enrollment, that's always a primary focus here at SIU. You know our agenda, we're aiming to increase our enrollment, and we at the college level are being successful in that. I'll show that data in just a moment, but first I'll highlight that we're not only the best college at SIU, we're also the largest. We make up 36.8% of undergraduate student enrollment and 27.5% of the graduate student enrollment. And so we are a primary fixture and a driving force when it comes to enrollment within SIU. And this past year, I know you all worked incredibly hard at enrollment. You were engaged in phone calls. In fact, I know school directors that were up here at 9 o'clock in the evening in the summer making telephone calls. You had a major media marketing campaign, extensive outreach. And as you can see here, those efforts paid off. We had growth in terms of enrollment, and these are new students, first year student enrollment at 2.12% at the undergraduate level and 1.69% at the graduate level. If you compare that to SIU, the target for SIU is a flat line this year, which would be a major accomplishment. If you look at the data for enrollments for SIU over the last 5 years, about 5 years ago, 2015, enrollment dropped by about 9%, and then 8%, and then 12%, and then 9%. And then it dropped down to about a deficit of 2% 2 years ago or last year, with the target of having no drop in enrollment this year. And so the trend seems to have changed. We've busted the curve, so to speak, in terms of our enrollment efforts. And we're a major contributor to that. We continue to grow. We grew last year, and we're growing this year, and we're going to aim to continue to grow going forward. And on that note, I like to dream big. I heard it said, and I adopted this phraseology once: dream no little dreams, Bob. So we're going to dream big. We're going to start realistic, though. We're going to target a 3% increase in undergraduate enrollment this next year. If we accomplish that, our undergraduate student body within the college would be at 3,027 students. That would be 3% growth off where we're at this year. Just like this year, that's going to require a lot of work. We're going to continue with the effort we put forward. We're going to continue with the media marketing campaign. But one thing we're going to do is particularly dive in on a relationship-driven recruiting effort. One thing I've heard in multiple contexts is that local schools, communities, parents, and students feel somewhat disconnected in some communities from SIU, that we've focused our enrollment efforts on the more global level at the cost of our efforts on the local level. And so this year, with the help of Kara and Deborah, the two recruiting coordinators in the college, we're going to make sure that nobody within our surrounding communities feels left out or neglected. So what we're going to do is adopt the sporting recruitment approach. If you follow sports recruiting, people like Nick Saban, they draw a geographical, they take a circle around their geographical map, which they consider their recruiting home, and with the idea that they won't lose any recruits out of that circle. We're going to do the same thing. And so you see here, Southern Illinois, a piece of Indiana there, dipping into Kentucky, over into Missouri, and we'll eventually dip down into northern Arkansas. And that's going to be our recruiting zone. And as Kara, Deborah, and I have talked about it, if we lose a student out of that zone to another regional school in Illinois, we lost that recruit. We didn't finish our job with that particular student. We're going to lose students to the University of Illinois. We're going to lose students to Northwestern. We're going to keep and retain some students from those schools, but we'll lose some to those schools. But our effort is designed to make sure that we don't lose students to any of the other regional schools. And one method of accomplishing that is boots on the ground. We're going to visit every high school and community college a minimum of 2 to 3 times in this next academic year. So when an academic advisor is meeting with a student, they're going to have fresh on their minds, and they're going to have in their possession swag, if you will, from our college representing your schools to ensure that when they meet with their students, they have fresh information to share, and that we've been there recently to talk to them about the benefits of coming to SIU. So Kara and Deborah are going to be on the road quite a bit. I refer to them now as our road warriors. We're going to put a lot of miles on the car. We're going to give business to the local Goodyear or Firestone, whoever we have in Carbondale. And we're going to beat the bushes, and we're going to, wherever there's a concern that we haven't been attentive to the teachers, to the advisors, to the parents and the students in our local community, that being surrounded there by the red, we're going to fix that, because we're going to visit them, and we're going to visit them repeatedly. And we'll begin to grow that circle going forward. Again, with the target of hitting 3,000 students for the next fiscal year. This is the one area that we have some work to do. Every other piece of data that I'm showing you today is in the positive. This is an area where we have some work to do. When you look at our retention rates, and this is 6-year retention rate for baccalaureate degrees. This isn't for associate degrees or certificates. This is just when you look at a first-year student, not talking about transfers or anything else, just a first-year student that comes to SIU, and you look at their graduation rate 6 years later. Did they or did they not complete a baccalaureate degree? This is our data. Now, the national average is 62%. That's according to the National Center for Statistics. Women typically are performing at a bit higher level, being around roughly 66%, with males, students at around 60%. So that average nationally would be at that 60 to between 60, 62, 63%. You can see we fall short of that. With the exception of 2014, the schools in this college hit that 60% mark. But beyond that, when you look at our 6-year graduation rate for students that had 6 years, that would be 15 and before. You see our graduation rates hover around that 50% mark. That means when a parent drops their kid off here for a first-year student here at SIU, they have about a 50% chance that their kid's going to graduate with a degree within 6 years. And I would submit to you that we can do better than that. SIU's a stronger institution than that. And so we're going to work to enhance our graduation rate and target retention going forward. That's going to be a major initiative. So I've asked the school directors to get with you as the faculty and staff in the schools to brainstorm and develop ideas that you can implement at the school level, and bring ideas that we can look at implementing at the college level to work on addressing this area of retention. I've asked Valerie, who committed her team to reaching out as our first initiative, to reach out to each and every first-year and transfer student that's new to SIU this fall. And Valerie helped identify the dates as September 1 to September 16 as being the advisors are very busy, but that would be the 2-week period where they would have the most available time to engage in a call, and to both email and either text or call each and every first-year student to ensure that those students feel connected and engaged with their academic advisors. When you look at the research data, students in their first year typically don't drop out due to poor academic performance. They drop out due to lack of engagement, lack of connection, and feeling lost in their environment. And so we want to rectify that, starting with the academic advisors, making sure that they have a strong connection with the students. And so I thank Valerie and her advising team for joining me in this effort with these initial contacts here to start the semester. In terms of research, the college is a strong contributor to the research mission of the university and to the Tier 2 status of SIU, broadly speaking. I was quite impressed when I pulled this data. I just received this data last night. So all I have is grant awards. I don't have any information on publications, other types of contracts, and that sort of thing. But these are awards that carry F&A return. And you can see in fiscal year 20, Faculty brought in $2.5 million in research grants. That would be federal grants, foundation grants, state grants, things of that nature. And in fiscal year 21, brought in $4 million. That's a remarkably impressive statistic there. And it speaks for itself. I need not say any more. I'm just very impressed by the work that we're doing. And I would say that we're on the cusp of outperforming a tier 2 status in terms of our funding efforts. That being said, you'll see in a little bit when I talk about looking forward, I'm going to have some research initiatives, including around research and including around funding efforts. But that's an excellent excellent profile, excellent performance by all of you. One aspect of a dean's job is to fundraise, and as this slide will highlight, much of my job is made easy by the foundation office. Matt and his team, which includes Steph Taylor, who's our development officer for the college, have done an excellent job. They set an initiative to fundraise $12 million to this college by June of 2024. And we are already at almost $8 million with plenty of time to go. So we've eclipsed 66% of that funding target, and we still at 66% time. So we still have 34% time available, 3 years to hit that mark. And Steph and I, with the support of Matt, have already been talking about new steps, next initiatives to help propel us not only to that goal, but beyond. That's what we'll really target. But as you can see, we have an excellent base from which to operate in terms of our funding. We have a lot of scholarships. We have a lot of student scholarship money available. So one of the things we'll be doing over the next couple of years is making sure we're giving out as much scholarship money as we can to our students. If there's money in the account, we should be giving that. That's what donors, when donors support a scholarship fund, it's with the idea that that money is going to go to a student, not just sit and collect interest. And so we're going to be targeted in trying to spend down each and every scholarship account we can, starting this year and going forward. So you can anticipate seeing many, many calls for students to apply for scholarships, hopefully with increased output by way of scholarships awarded. On my end, a couple targets, and these are very preliminary. Again, I've been here a short time, so I'm still learning my way around the college and learning what we need. But two areas that I've identified where we could aim to strengthen our position financially would be in terms of facilities upgrades. Okay, we're already starting that. I've spoken with school directors. We're going to do that in terms of some of the furnishings and try to make your areas and some of your schools look a bit better, look more like what SIU should look like and what a tier 2 institution would look like. But we also need some more structural developments and enhancements. And so facilities upgrades will be one focus. The other thing I hope to focus on and work with staff and Matt towards are increased professorships. One way to elevate programs, schools, colleges and universities is to have endowed professorships, and that just elevates the reputation of an institution. And so hope to increase the number of endowed professorships within the school. Okay, so far that's mostly about what we've done and what you all have accomplished over the last year. And I know as a new dean, this is probably the one state of the college address, if you will, that would garner the most attention, because you want to know what my vision is as the new dean of the college. And to be quite frank, I don't have one yet. I'm working towards one, and I can tell you how I'm going to get there, but I'm still developing my vision for the college. What I can tell you is the same thing I told you in April, is that it will be data driven, and it will be based on feedback from students, staff, and faculty. I will be listening and learning from you about who we are and what our strengths are, and then positioning my vision for the college centered around those strengths and where we can strategize and most significantly impact change and strategic growth. Okay, as I said, I'm going to be data driven, and as of yet, I don't have data, so my vision is still a work in progress. What I will tell you are 5 key areas that I've identified as areas for continued work and growth, and areas that I believe I will be able to facilitate success. The mission, when I was interviewing, I asked Chancellor Lane, what is your goal? What are you looking for in the dean of this college? And the first thing he said is, I want the new dean to lead the college to new heights. So that's my mandate. Those are my marching orders, and that's what we're going to aim to do. And at least part of that will touch on these 5 areas: research, strategic growth, instructional excellence, diversity and inclusivity, and workplace culture. So I'm going to talk about each of those just very briefly. I've had a successful research career that I've enjoyed. And as part of that, I've had opportunities to work with faculty in enhancing research, and at the individual level, as well as at the programmatic level. And that's something I will aim to do here. I think as a tier 2 institution, we are well positioned to continue the successes. I showed you the funding record. That's very impressive, but there's still more that we can do and more that we can accomplish. And so I aim to help with that. And I aim to put my money where my mouth is by way of supports, institutional supports, and initiatives to give you what you need to be successful, including time, which is one of the things we all need if we're going to spend time in research and scholarship, right? So over the course of the next year, you'll be seeing a variety of efforts coming from the college, particularly once the associate deans are in place, designed to provide you additional resources to help you be successful in your research goals and your research targets, while highlighting targets for the college. I already touched on growth. Our target for this next year will be, it's actually 3,027 students. We want that 3% growth. That'll be based on regional and state engagement. Again, Tara and Deborah being road warriors, getting out there, beating the bushes, shaking hands, taking donuts to office staff, branding our colleagues out there in the high schools with your school swag, so that when students are in advisor's office across the high schools, they'll be seeing SIU's presence. And with that will be additional targets in terms of strategic growth. We can't just grow, though. I think one of the attributes that SIU has to offer to students is instructional excellence with an engagement in the community. One of the things that really attracted me is that we don't teach to the textbook here. We aim to teach leaders, and we aim to teach people critical thinking skills that they will take out into the real world to transform whatever environment that they're in, to transform society, to transform businesses, and to shape the direction of society going forward. And in efforts to grow and enhance our research portfolio and other things, we can't lose sight or lose focus on a key area where we excel. And I haven't visited the other schools in the greater Illinois region, but based on what I can see and what I gather so far, is that we excel in comparison to our peers. And that's that instructional excellence and creating unique learning opportunities. Just to give you one example, I was at the School of Aviation yesterday. They developed a new program called Propel, where they are now partnering with Delta to create employment opportunities for their students at the undergraduate level, such that when they become involved with Delta now, they get mentoring and gain leadership experience, hands-on experience. And when they graduate, they move into airlines connected with Delta with the commitment that they will eventually graduate into a full-time position with Delta Airlines. That type of partnership, you don't find at every school. That's unique to us and something that I think we need to make sure we continue to prioritize as we go forward, while looking at other areas for enhancements and growth. SIU is a very dynamic and diverse community, but we can always do better. And I aim to continue the diversity and inclusivity committee at the college level. And we'll be looking at what initiatives and what efforts we need to put forward to enhance the college along DEI lines going forward. And lastly, I'm just going to touch on workplace culture. I've said this, I think, a couple of times here, and I have said it in my ad staff meetings multiple times. Again, you are an incredibly committed and dedicated staff and faculty, and I respect that. And again, my commitment is to match you in that effort. At the same time, institutions such as SIU are not always the easiest place to work. And so one thing I'll be committed to is assessing workplace culture, looking at how you're doing in your job, and trying to help ensure that you have an enjoyable work environment in all the contexts that means, which would mean upgrading some of your local facilities, but also just looking at the general climate and culture of the university and working towards enhancing, if you will, workplace enjoyment. So just from my 6 weeks on the job, those are the 5 areas. I wouldn't call them pillars at this point in time. They're not my long-term vision for the college, but those are 5 areas that I'm going to be looking at, focusing on over the course of the next year, while I'm still working to understand the greater complexity of the college and develop a full-fledged mission, which I will roll out next year at this time. So with that, I'm going to one by one pass the baton here and let our colleagues, Valerie from advising, and then each of the school directors, take a moment to introduce their new faculty and staff. And I've asked each school director to take 2 to 5 minutes, emphasis on no more than 5 minutes, to just talk a little bit about highlights within their college and what they're, or sorry, within their school and what they're doing at the school level going forward. So Valerie, if you're on and available, I'll ask you to go ahead and start.
Okay, thank you. Advisement, we are now, well, as of next week, are officially reorganized into our new college. So not only are new people, but I just wanted to sort of mention all of our advisors in the school to let everyone know what our new advisement team looks like. So in the School of Automotive, we have Brittany McElroy. In the School of Aviation, Susan King and Kania Lee. In the School of Health Sciences, Michael Rowell, Mike Karchi, and our newest addition, Xanthi Kuhn. School of Human Sciences, we have Christopher Hinkle and Nicole Rains, who moved from the School of Automotive. In the School of Justice and Public Safety, we have Walter Davis. And then in the School of Psychological and Behavioral Sciences, Leslie Anderson. So that's our newly reconstituted advisement team. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Valerie. Okay, next we'll start with, and I'm just going in alphabetical order of the school here. So School of Automotive, Eugene.
Thank you, Dean Morgan. For staff introductions, we've got one faculty, Kent McVessel. He has been promoted from assistant instructor to an assistant professor. So he is starting on his tenured process this year. And then we have 2 new NTTs for assistant instructors. We have Joe Raganese. He is coming from Fiat Chrysler as a training and development specialist from there for the last few years. And William Ellis is also our other new assistant instructor, and he is coming to us after serving 20 years in the National Guard in the vehicle maintenance area. So he has a lot of experience coming from there. So those are our new staff. From a Updates and highlights, I think with our program, a few things. We received 11 vehicle donations in the last year, and a number of those are 2020 models, which are a tremendous help to our faculty and staff to stay up on the latest technology. So our industry ties from that are so far staying in great shape. We also just started receiving 3 hybrid vehicles from Travel Service, so we can expand our electric and hybrid vehicle curriculum a little bit with a few more vehicles, but they're coming out of service and not able to be driven anymore through Travel Service, and they're basically repurposing them to us, which is a great help. Last year, we were able to provide $18,000 in scholarships through our department between industry donations and endowments from industry support. It is looking like that will actually go up a little bit this year. We've already got a couple of companies looking at donating some additional scholarship dollars, which will be great for our students. We'll be going forward with scholarships here in the next month or so. One of the biggest things we did this year is we purchased a $40,000 set of calibration tools. For those of you that drive a newer vehicle with advanced driver assist systems, or ADAS, those are the lane keep and radar and all those types of systems on your vehicles. It takes quite a bit to calibrate those things, and we are the only school or training facility outside of a dealership that has this equipment in the Midwest. So it gives us a unique opportunity to do some things with our students. And on the research side, we also have a number of projects that we're involved in or investigating to move forward with. We're talking with a professor from Villanova. There's 2 separate EV projects that he's approached us with. One is utilizing EV batteries for energy storage in small countries so that we're able to reuse EV batteries. We're also looking at converting diesels into micro hybrids in the Galapagos Islands so that they can utilize their resources better and less diesel fuel in that area. We're also working with an industry partner to help identify HEV and EV terms across the industry to assist with warranty and service contract concerns with consumers. So as you buy your service contract at the dealer, we're trying to help with that side. Assistant Professor Jessica Suda has recently presented at an electric vehicle education or about electric vehicle education at the University of Cork College in Ireland. And we'll also be presenting learning ties between conventional vehicles and EVs at an international battery show here coming up in September. 2 other projects we're collaborating with engineering on include isolating internal combustion engine misfire causes through machine learning, and also EV and hybrid battery cooling research. And the last thing, I don't know if anybody's been to the University Museum, but there is a very lovely 1991 Chevy G-Van at the University Museum right now. And that was actually donated to us, and through some research between our students and our faculty, found out that that is one of the very first hybrid vans that General Motors ever built. So we now have a piece over in the University Museum from the Automotive program. So that's my summary.
Thank you, Eugene. Okay, we will shift to School of Aviation. Michael Bergner.
Good afternoon, everybody. For new hires this year, we have new faculty that we've hired, Gail Evandano for AVM. We have, for our distance education program, Melvin Zahn, Michelle Papaki, Jenna Chumbly, Brian Lesko, Randall Johnson, and Gary Schaefer. Flight instructors, David Campy, Ryan Burrow, Ryan Fitzgerald, Daniel Whitlow, Gavin Voris, Brian Hauber, Seth Glidewell, Skylar Cantrell, and Matthew Santos. And we hired a new program assistant recently for our flight operations, Peter Merlin. And we hired 3 extra help mechanics for the maintenance shop, Tommy Coble, Colby Collins, and Andrew Feiner, and they're all recent graduates of the AVT program. In addition to that, Irene Miller switched from non-tenure track to tenure track, so she just started on the tenure track this August. And I should also mention the retirement. Professor Lorelei Ruiz is retiring August 31st. As far as updates, I want to congratulate the Flying Salukis for winning or for coming in third in the nation, which is their 10th straight year coming in the top 3 in national competition. And they've won 9 national championships over the past 50 years. Aviation now has its first master's degree. It was just approved by IBHE just like a week ago. And that master's is going to be an online master's, and we should be able to start that next spring. Also, the aviation flight program just received Board of Trustees approval to purchase 7 new Cessna 172s. These will be added to 2 used planes that we purchased this year and 5 new planes that we purchased last year. So we're getting a bunch of new planes in. The Dean already mentioned the Delta Propel program, which was just signed and inaugurated yesterday. This is the first agreement of this type that we have with a major airline. We have a couple of career path programs with regional airlines, but this is the first one with a major airline. And we're also working with the similar program with United Airlines, which is called Aviate, and we hope to have that one ready to go by October or November. Still working through all the legalities on that one. And that's it for aviation.
All right, thank you, Mike. Next up will be Scott Collins with School of Health Sciences.
Thank you, Dean. We've got a lot of activity going on in the School of Health Sciences. We have actually 17 new team members. We'll go through these. Jessica Catalto is hired as a new assistant professor in the healthcare management, health administration, health informatics programs. Jackie Nash is a new assistant instructor for us here on campus. And then we have several individuals in these programs in the online environment. Cedric Bodella, Candy Constantine Costello, Danny Crawley, Ion Hill, Frankie Lyons, Leslie Pedke, Jake Redden, and Janzetta Tillman. So those are all in the adjunct environment all across the country and helping teach our programs in the online area. For nursing, we got 3 new members, Nikki Fox, Nancy McNitt, and Stacy Strickland. That program is continuing to grow and do great things. We got Danila Sipa and Kim Parr, who are new folks in the occupational therapy doctorate program. So it's getting ramped up to start next August. Dustin Nert joined us in the MRI specialization within radiologic sciences. And Caitlin Sullivan joined us as an assistant instructor to kick off our interventional radiography specialization. So we're very excited with that one getting started this semester as well. In regards to good news or updates type areas, I just first want to say thank you to Rick McInnes for all his work and dedication to serve as the interim school director over this last year. All the work he did with the team, greatly appreciated, and the school has moved forward a lot. So congratulations goes to Rick McInnes and Maria Claudia Franca. They both received promotion to professor. So great work to both of them, quite the accomplishment. Our enrollment for this great school has continued to grow, and we are now up to 1,146 students. So a very large school that is helping contribute to the growth of this college. In regards to the quality of education, dosimetry, radiography, communications disorders graduate program had 100% pass rates on their national exams. Dental hygiene had 100% pass rate on the credits clinical exam. And radiation therapy is on track for a perfect score. They've got 2 folks left to test though. So they're right on their way. As I mentioned earlier, we did start the interventional radiography specialization with Caitlin, so we're excited there. Communication disorder undergrad program had a successful IBHE review last year. Radiation therapy had a successful site visit, and we're waiting on the results of that accreditation action. Sonography received notice of continuing accreditation through 2024. And Respiratory therapy received a preliminary co-arc approval to start that specialization. Our bachelor's in nursing is having their CCNE site visit this year. The CARE program, which is between counseling and the rehabilitation folks, submitted their KCREP self-study today. So that's an exciting task off of their plate. So we're looking forward to great things. The OT folks, as I just said earlier, are on track to start August of 2022. And the doctorate of physical therapy should be going forward for August of 2024. Even though that sounds like a long way down the road, that's what the accrediting body puts us in line for. Basically, the communication disorders, PTA, as well as others had 100% graduate job placement. As we all know, college is a very expensive endeavor, and the fact that they are finding employment upon graduation is key. We've had some of our grad students in rehab get dissertation fellowship awards. The communication disorders faculty received grants for their autism spectrum work that they're doing. HCM has kicked off a virtual reality experience, so that class is doing well through the honors program. Mortuary science held their senior student embalming colloquium last year that served as a continuing education experience for over 60 area funeral directors. Even with COVID, it continued that great tradition. The nursing program kicked off its second cohort with 54 sophomores, but it also started its accelerated track this year with 15 new students in it. So we're excited that the second phase of the BSN program has kicked off. The Health Administration Graduate Program continues to be one of the largest online graduate programs for SIU. A tremendous amount of the faculty in this school have had various awards, lots of publications. So thank you for your efforts there. And our remodeling project, if you haven't been in the ASA building, is probably the biggest facelift I can tell you for this building in the last at least 25 years. But it actually looks up to date. And it's appealing when you walk through it. And I just want to say thank you to the entire team of the college for all the support last year. As Dean Morgan's presented, we're on track for great things. So thank you. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, School of Human Sciences, Julianne Wallace.
I knew I was going to do that. Thank you, Dean Morgan, and good afternoon, everyone. It is my pleasure to present the new faculty in the School of Human Sciences. We are happy to welcome into a tenure track position, Dr. Sean Quisenberry. He is an assistant professor of exercise science with a specialization in biomechanics, and he'll also be able to help out with our therapeutic recreation area. He received his PhD from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. In addition, we were able to bring on Dr. Heather Tillwine as an assistant professor of practice in our public health program, and she'll serve as the program director for that bachelor's level program. Dr. Lori DeWald, also assistant professor of practice for public health, teaching in the online MPH program. Dr. Keisha Robinson, again, assistant professor of practice in the online Masters of Public Health program. Gabby Hoffman is our new Masters of Public Health coordinator. Joe Harper is an assistant lecturer in social work, and Dr. Tammy Gwaltney is a new assistant professor of practice in social work. As far as highlights from the past year, there are obviously a number of things that we could mention, but I think some of the things that we're most proud of are launching the first two completely online programs in the school. That is the online option for the Masters of Social Work, as well as the online MPH program. Both of these are fully accredited for the maximum number of years. We're also in the development stages of an RME to transition the previous PhD in health education to a PhD in population health, and developing an NUI or researching developing an NUI for establishing a DSW program. Our social work program this year in 2021 is actually celebrating the 50th anniversary of social work at SIU. And this is a huge celebration. They are probably one of our largest, they are our largest alumni base for the school. There are a lot of people out there with BSW and MSW degrees from social work. So we're really looking forward to this celebration, which is scheduled for October 15th. And we'll make sure to get additional information out to everybody on that. Our sports administration program continues to be selected as one of the top 50 affordable urban programs in the US for sport management. And I believe it's the only one in the state of Illinois. Our recreation professions program underwent a successful review. Our nutrition dietetics programs continues to have a 100% pass rate. And instead of going into individual research and grant activities, as you may have seen, according to the College of Health and Human Science Research and Scholarly Activities report for the calendar year 2020, the School of Human Sciences led the college in the number of journal articles published, the number of grants submitted, and the number of grants funded. And so far in 21, despite having really a full year of COVID as opposed to half a year in 2020, we seem to be on a track to do something similar this year. So we're really, really proud of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Okay, I'm going to actually break from our regularly scheduled programming. The provost has joined us, so it's my pleasure to give Mira the floor for however long you would like, Mira.
Hey, thank you very much, Bob, and good afternoon to all of you. I'm glad that I could join, even though it's for a few minutes. I promised the dean that if I can get out of the other meeting before I get into the next one, I will try to join. So here I am, and I am here because I wanted to start out by thanking the entire college for doing really, really well in terms of our enrollment efforts. We'll get the numbers when we get them on the 10th day, but just keeping track of all the effort that has gone on in the college to bring in the largest freshman class, as well as bring back as many of our continuing students. I wanted to salute you for all of your hard work. It hasn't gone unnoticed. Thank you very much for that. Also, thank you very much to the faculty who stepped up to teach the University 101 classes. So after all the effort of bringing in the students to our campus, teaching them and ensuring that they are retained for the next year and so on is also highly appreciated. So I wanted to recognize all of you for all the things that you have done to maintain the sort of health of the university, and also all of your contributions in various forms. You are the largest college in terms of the number of programs and schools and students that you have. And you all are doing an amazing job. And I wanted to thank you for all of those efforts. I know that each of you is going above and beyond. So thank you very much. Another form of recognition of your efforts and contributions is the number of hires that you get. So welcome to all of the new faculty, both tenure track and non-tenure track, because you help us sort of build capacity and reach our students and connect with them. So I wanted to thank you. Really is to thank all of you, and to ask that you support your new dean in taking the college to the next heights. So I'll just pause there and give the floor back to you, Dean Morgan.
All right. Thank you, Mira. So continuing on, the School of Justice and Public Safety, Matt Giblin.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. The school has welcomed 4 new faculty and staff members. Matthew West joins the school as an assistant professor of criminology and criminal justice. He just recently earned his PhD from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and his research focuses on decision-making, especially in death penalty cases. We welcome Matthew. George Bridges joins the school as a lecturer in public safety management. George is currently the chief of the fire department in Waukegan, Illinois. He's also a dual degree graduate of the PSM program. So welcome, George. Carl Jones also joins the school as a lecturer in public safety management. He's currently a lieutenant and paramedic with the Orland Park Fire District and a longtime training division instructor. He holds a master's degree in public safety administration from Lewis University. And finally, Brittany Foster joins us as our new office administrator. She's been with SIU since 2019, most recently with the Aviation program. She's got a wealth of experience in hospitality, management, budgeting, and customer service. And we really look forward to her working with us in school justice and public safety and really serving as our point person. Everybody knows that how critical our staff members are. In this forum, I'd really like to also take a moment to recognize our retiring staff members. That we have tremendous staff, and it's really a loss when all of their years of service depart with them. But we want to congratulate Lisa Adams and Tuesday Ashner on their upcoming retirements over the next month. So welcome to everyone and congratulations on your retirement for Tuesday and Lisa. As far as school highlights, the School of Justice and Public Safety was one of the first schools to reorganize. I guess it's just over 2 years ago now. The reorganization for us is coming to a close, and we look at it as a success with the imminent closure of the operating papers. So for us, that would be a checkbox and say maybe the reorganization is finally done for us. We've really tried to do a lot with our physical space here in Carbondale, as well as technological upgrades that we're planning for our off-campus location in Joliet as well. And I think we're seeing some efficiencies as a result of the reorganization, most recently with a vote over the past couple of weeks to link our paralegal and CCJ internship programs under a single supervision rather than having disconnected programs. Overall school enrollment was up last year, appears to be largely stable this year, but we have several areas of substantial growth: the public safety management master's degree program, the online program in criminology and criminal justice, and the accelerated master's program in criminology and criminal justice. We hope to see additional growth on the horizon with our continued recruiting efforts and new program initiatives, including the forthcoming certificate in paralegal studies. Over the past really 4 to 5 months, we've initiated or updated more than 50 articulation agreements with community colleges across the country, providing students with a pathway from community colleges into our School of Justice and Public Safety programs. Our faculty members continue on with their research, including large grants by Professors Tammy Koshel and Raymond Narag. Both of their projects are really designed to improve public safety and improve the lives of those who are accused of criminal behavior. Our school's 3 programs graduated 158 students over the past year. Many have gone on to rewarding careers in law enforcement, public safety, academia, corrections. Just recently, one of our CCJ programs was named one of our CCJ program graduates was named the chief of Champaign Police Department, and just within the last 2 days, public safety management graduate was named the first female fire chief of the Rockford, Illinois Fire Department. So there's a lot of success among our graduates. Finally, I'll just say we're really looking forward after a 1.5 years of COVID-related postponements, and I'm glad the provost is here because the provost was generous with her support for this. But we're really looking forward to Piper Kerman, the author of Orange is the New Black, coming in on November 4th. We haven't publicly announced that. Piper Kerman has on her website, so I feel comfortable saying that here. But after 3 postponements from COVID, we're keeping our fingers crossed that this is able to go forward. So we're incredibly proud of our efforts and excited to see what's in store for the new year. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. And then last but not least, psychological and behavioral sciences, Reza Habib.
Thank you, Dean Morgan. So I'd like to start by welcoming our new faculty. We have 3 new assistant professors, Dr. Ankita Sahu, who's joining the counseling and adult clinical area, Dr. Leslie Schaller, she's joining the behavior analysis and therapy area, and Dr. Camilo Hurtado Paredo, who's also joining the behavior analysis and therapy program. And I'm also very happy to have Dean Morgan be a faculty member in this School of Psychological and Behavioral Sciences in the counseling and adult clinical area as well. In addition to our those 4, we also have 6 NTTs that we hired last year, and I'm happy that they are all back with us again this year. So we have Doctors Deja McLean, Natalia Byers, Natalie Williams, Kate Sadler, Paige Boydson, and Ethan Teal. So we hired them all last year, and they are all back this semester. Many of you know our friend and colleague, Dr. Shane Koch, passed away this past May. The Association of Behavior Analysis International elected him or selected him as Mentor of the Year, and he received that honor posthumously. So that was, it was an honor that he deserved because he was such a great mentor. Sadly, he wasn't there to receive it. I wanted to also acknowledge Liz Dalala is President-elect of the International Behavior Genetics Association. She was also awarded Charter Fellow status for the National Sigma Xi Science Honor Society. Michelle Kibbe was accepted as Fellow of the National Academy of Neuropsychology. So those are some updates on our faculty. In terms of highlights, one of the things that we're very proud of is we created our online BA in psychology. So students can complete the entire BA degree entirely online, and right this fall, we have close to 500 students enrolled in our online classes. So that has been a great effort on all our faculty and staff. And I want to make shout outs to our undergraduate program director, Dr. Kathleen Schmidt, who headed up that online BA. And perhaps in that and also her efforts in recruiting, psychology also brought the 2nd largest number of new freshmen to campus this year as well. So, lots of kudos to Dr. Schmidt for all of her effort and her team, the graduate students that helped her. In terms of research, we had 4 grants that were awarded this year for us. Michelle Kibbe and Liz Dalala received grants, and Mary Louise Cashel and Tamara Kang received summer research support from CHHS. We had a total of 21 peer-reviewed publications and 4 book chapters amongst the faculty. Our students, we had 2 master's fellowships awarded, 2 doctoral fellowships awarded, and 2 DRA dissertation research awards awarded to our graduate students. And we're very proud that Matt Jamnick, Liz Dalala's graduate student, received a postdoctoral position at UC San Diego Medical School. So he has moved out to San Diego and is a postdoc there. Just some other minor or not, but just some other sort of things that don't fall into those categories. Liz Dalala was invited to present grand rounds to the University of Sao Paulo in Brazil. And you may have seen some of you may have seen this video. She and a colleague in Canada produced the Preschool Superheroes video as a way to help children in preschool be safe in COVID. And that's it for updates from School of Psychological and Behavioral Sciences. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Reza. Then the next item, I just want to remind everyone of the College Connection, which is tomorrow afternoon from 4 to 6 o'clock between Davies Gym and Shyrock. Hope you can join us. We'll have a lot of our new students there, so hopefully we can give them a very warm welcome. And that concludes the agenda for today. I know it's usually the tradition is to just end these type of things, but Zoom's not my favorite form, to be quite frank. I feel like I communicate better with you when we're in the same room and I can make actual eye contact and see where you're at with things. And you just can't do that when presenting via Zoom. So I'm going to break from kind of a State of the Union tradition and take a moment and just open it up for questions. It's 4:05, so we have a little bit of time left. I'll stay on as long as any of you do. If you're done, feel free to leave. Thank you for joining us. This was an excellent turnout. In fact, Mira commented on how many of you, faculty and staff, joined the meeting today. So I thank you for that. Feel free to leave if you have no questions. If you have questions, feel free to ask. I'll tell you what I told my staff one Friday afternoon, that I'd be responsible for answering the phone. Problem was, I wouldn't have any answers for whoever that called, but I'll do my best here. So if you have questions, fire away. You can put it in the chat or you can ask them verbally, and I'll stay as long as any of you do.
I don't have a question. I just have a statement. I just want to make sure everybody knows for the College Connection event tomorrow, I am the MC. So I wanted to put that out there.
Thank you, Phil. We appreciate you doing that.